If you're a business owner, a CEO, or an executive, are you feeling that familiar unease around all the AI hype? The sense that you need to be doing something, yet the fear of making the wrong, potentially costly move can be daunting. You're not alone. I speak with CEOs and business owners regularly who wrestle with this exact tension, the risk of inaction versus the peril of going down a wrong path, or even complete failure of the AI initiative. If that pressure resonates with you, then hear me out for the next few minutes. Because in this episode, I'm going to lay out 9 fundamental pillars. Think of them as your strategic blueprint for navigating the complexities of AI, allowing you to make confident, impactful decisions. Not just chase the latest sexy trend or AI hype. Stick with me and discover all the 9 pillars in detail, because leaving one out may just put your AI initiative down the path to failure. I promise you clarity and confidence is within your reach. Now, for those of you who joined me last time in episode 6, part 1, you'll recall we took a deep dive into the executive mindset surrounding AI. We unpacked what internal struggles many of you are facing, the tug of war between the fear of being left behind and the very real concerns of investing down a dead-end path. We explored what failure means and actually looks like. Some AI projects seemingly succeed from a project perspective, but fail when implemented in the real day-to-day business. And you will recall that we identified 8 often overlooked factors that can lead to AI initiatives failing before they even truly begin. If you happen to miss that conversation, don't worry, this episode stands entirely on its own. However, if you're curious to delve deeper into those potential pitfalls, I'll include a link in the show notes. But today, our focus shifts. We're moving beyond that initial apprehension and stepping firmly into the path of proactive strategy. We're transitioning from guesswork to grounded decision-making. And to guide us, I want to introduce you to what I call the AI Swifter framework. Now, this isn't just another trendy acronym to add to your list. This is a structured approach, a set of guiding principles designed to bring clarity, confidence, and a clear sense of direction to your AI journey, regardless of where your organization currently stands. However, before we dive into the specifics of AI Swifter, there's a more foundational element we need to discuss. Something that underpins every single aspect of successfully integrating AI into your business. And that process is called discovery. It's the ongoing radar that guides everything. Think of discovery as your always-on radar in the rapidly evolving world of artificial intelligence. It's not a one-time task. It's an ongoing discipline. A continuous scanning of the horizon. Why is this so crucial? Because without this constant process of discovery, your AI decisions risk becoming purely reactive. You might find yourself chasing the latest headlines, blindly following vendor pitches, or even worse, being swayed by consultants, pushing solutions that aren't truly aligned with your needs. Discovery provides you with a space to observe, to thoughtfully analyze, and to lead with a sense of calm and informed perspective. It eliminates the fear of missing out because discovery provides concrete information and turns feelings of overwhelm into calm reassurance and shows up real opportunities of AI. Ultimately, it ensures you're well prepared when AI genuinely emerges as the right solution for your unique business challenges after you've thoughtfully considered all the angles through the framework I'll cover today. So how do you implement this discovery process? It doesn't need to be overly complex. Establish a simple, consistent system for regularly scanning industry news, keeping tabs on your internal initiatives, monitoring your competitors' moves and staying abreast of global trends. Pay particular attention to emerging disruptors in your market and keep an eye on new technologies, AI models, and emerging methodologies. For now, simply gather this information. File it away. The initial goal is just to learn and understand. Maybe you can assign a small team or even rotate the responsibility to champion this discovery process. Perhaps create a shared document or a simple dashboard. The key is consistency. It needs to become an ingrained habit within your organization. What exactly are you looking for in your discovering scans? Keep an eye out on the following. Number 1, emerging AI tools and platforms. Number 2, innovative AI-driven business models that are gaining traction. Number 3, practical and impactful AI use cases relevant to your industry. Number 4, the ever-evolving ethical considerations surrounding AI. And number 5, crucial regulatory changes in the AI landscape. And number 6, importantly, pay attention to both the successes and the failures of AI implementation by others. There are valuable lessons to be learned from both. So what happens if you neglect this foundational discovery process? Quite simply, you risk becoming a victim of hype. You might end up investing in systems you don't truly need, or worse, you live with a constant state of mental anxiety, unsure of what to do, who to trust, and ultimately missing the strategic path that's right for your business. So who is responsible for discovery? Well, everyone in the organization plays a role in being aware of discovery. Designate a few passionate individuals, perhaps those natural enthusiasts who love technology and digital innovation. They can be your dedicated radar watchers. These champions can help guide the rest of the organization, inspire curiosity, and foster a culture of AI awareness within your workspace. Discovery is what provides you with that crucial breathing room in the often turbulent waters of AI. It transforms potential chaos into confident decision-making. And it's a discipline that will serve you exceptionally well in every AI-related conversation and decisions you make moving forward. You'll be informed, you'll speak with conviction, and your choices will be rooted in objective understanding. So all right, now that we've established the critical importance of having your radar constantly scanning, let's delve into the heart of our discussion today, the 9 pillars of the AI Swifter framework. Each of these pillars is intentionally designed to help you build AI solutions that deliver genuine sustainable value, creating a tangible shift in your business and potentially unlocking opportunities you haven't even considered yet. It's important to understand that these pillars aren't necessarily a linear process. Rather, they represent the essential foundational elements that should inform every AI initiative you undertake within your organization. So starting with the A in AI Swifter, alignment. At its core, alignment is about ensuring your AI efforts are directed at solving the right problems for the right people and in the right way, ensuring it truly serves your overarching business objectives and stakeholder needs. Often, AI initiatives are technology-led, going down a path propelled by hype, implementing solutions not aligned with the business goals or stakeholder needs. The alignment component tackles this challenge head-on. When implemented, you are 100% certain that what you are building is needed in your organization and is most likely to move the performance needle if implemented correctly. Why is this so critical? Because AI that isn't strategically aligned risks becoming a mere sideshow. Flashy technology that doesn't address any meaningful business challenges or provide real value. It's a tail wagging the dog analogy. How is the alignment pillar implemented? The process of alignment begins with identifying your stakeholders and understanding how they play their part in your organization's ecosystem. As I've already highlighted in previous episodes, it's helpful to categorize stakeholders into three key groups. First, those you serve, as you will remember. Those are your shareholders, your customers, or the communities you impact. Second, your enablers, your staff, your internal teams, your partners, and the key vendors. And third, your influencers. These are your board of directors, regulatory bodies, and your investors. Each shareholder group has their unique needs and aspirations that can be fulfilled by AI solutions. But more importantly, you must understand how solving problems of one stakeholder group impacts the other two groups that we just spoke about. So for example, to implement an AI client portal, you'd need to provide staff with tools to upload information and step in where AI can't provide the information required by your clients. Going even further, you need AI-driven performance dashboards showing the influencers, in other words, the executives, that the AI solution is paying off and is positively driving business growth and cost reduction. So what do you need to do to get alignment of AI solutions to stakeholders and business needs? To effectively understand and achieve alignment, you need to start with stakeholders categorization I just told you about. Identify stakeholder needs through interviews and focus groups or surveys to gather direct insights. Carry out stakeholder journey mapping to visualize the experience you're aiming to improve. Note, I said stakeholders, not just customers. You need to factor all three stakeholder groups we've just covered earlier. So map out stakeholder needs, problems, and aspirations on an impact effort matrix to help prioritize initiatives that will give your business the greatest results with the most optimal investment of time and capital. So what if you skip this crucial step of alignment? You might very well end up building a technically brilliant AI solution. You may even build it in record time and super efficiently within budget estimates. However, you will build an AI solution that ultimately no one needs, or even worse, no one actually uses. You'll most likely end up building a solution looking for a problem. It's therefore no surprise why more than 85% of AI initiatives actually fail. Alignment is a North Star guiding your AI-led transformation based on the needs of your business and your stakeholders. So who's responsible for the alignment pillar? While your leadership team and business analysts will likely take the lead in this area, it's absolutely vital to involve end users early in the process. Listen attentively to feedback from across your entire organization. So let's talk about innovation, the first I in the AI Swifter framework. In our case, innovation isn't that shiny buzzword heavy, out of this world kind of innovation that's all about being first to market. What we're interested in here is purposeful innovation. Nothing groundbreaking, but something new to your organization Innovation that's rooted in business value and solves something real, not just chases the latest trends. Why does this matter? Because without a structured approach to innovation, you're left with two extremes. Either your business stagnates or you waste time spinning wheels on disconnected side projects that really go nowhere. So how do you build innovation that actually works? You have to start by creating safe spaces to test ideas. No one will want to innovate in an environment where they get fired for trying out new things that fail ultimately. Encourage bottom-up input, not just top-down vision. Find ways to capture the ideas from the front line, from people who see the opportunities and the problems while serving stakeholders on a daily basis. You can run small pilots with room to fail, followed by reflection and adaptation. That's how you get real insights and shift in your business. What could the innovation process look like? Remember the discovery process I spoke about. This is an ongoing process and will give you new ideas inspired by AI-led business models and new technologies that show you what's possible. Discovery is the foundation to innovation because it gives you ideas of possibilities that you won't even have thought about. Don't stick to your industry. Explore new AI technologies and business models emerging in other industries that has got nothing to do with yours. So innovation starts with brainstorming in a safe space where ideas from all levels of the company can flow freely. No hierarchy, no politics, and no egos. If you're brainstorming online, use whiteboard tools to capture ideas from remote teams. Make it a fun and creative process. Remember, innovation shouldn't just be for the sake of innovation. You are innovating to solve a pressing problem or delivering on the needs of one of your stakeholder groups, not just customers. Remember also that by going through the alignment pillar, you will be finding innovative ways to solve a problem that has surfaced as a priority, one that will deliver the highest return on capital and time invested. Ideas don't only come up in well-structured brainstorming sessions. They are spontaneous and can come from anywhere. Maybe when one of your team is dealing with an irate customer. Maybe when your employee is frustrated by a complex and unnecessary process. Or maybe when managers can't monitor the performance of a business. Or maybe it comes to you as the leader in your business when you are in the shower. You really need to develop a mechanism to capture ideas where they strike. This is in addition to the formalized brainstorming process. For example, keep suggestion boxes around your office. Develop a dedicated email address to capture ideas from across the organization, or develop a web form to capture these innovative ideas. Reward people that come up with great ideas. After ideation, the idea must translate into AI prototypes that can be tested, of course, only if this makes sense and passes the "should we do it" test. Maybe you can run a design sprint around a specific and well-defined problem, or host internal innovation contests like hackathons. Alternatively, you can prototype quickly, share the solution with real users, and listen to their feedback. Ask them how the prototype can be improved to make their lives better. There are many resources and books out there on the innovation process, so I won't cover it here really. But what if you skip the step of innovation in the AI Swifter framework? When innovation isn't guided by your strategic objectives and stakeholder needs, you'll end up chasing novelty and hype instead of progress. You pursue innovation for innovation's sake rather than for improving your business and how you serve your stakeholders. When going down the wrong type of innovation, you burn time, budget, and goodwill on things that don't really move the needle. Okay, so who should be responsible for the process of innovation in your organization? Naturally, the R&D team comes to mind, right? If you run a small business, you'd think it's the job of the CEO and the other executives. However, innovation should be everyone's job, from the front line to leadership, because the best ideas often come from where the problems are felt the most. In business, innovation can't happen in a lab. Ideas can come from anywhere, and you have to have a system to capture and quickly evaluate new ideas. Okay, so let's now turn to S in the AI Swifter framework. S stands for skills and people. Most people will be forgiven for thinking that AI is a technology challenge. We associate AI with data, methods like large language models, or buying and deploying super fast computers, or installing Internet of Things sensors that hook up to AI systems. But make no mistake, AI is powered by people. People build it, deploy it, question it, use it, and clean up after it when things go wrong. So why focus on people? Because people make AI happen, and it's essential that you have the right mix of skills. You definitely need deep technical skills, but you also need skills that motivates and empowers humans to use the AI systems. As you already know, this is often referred to as change management skills. You'll also need project management skills, people who can teach others how to use AI systems, experts who understand risks and the ethics of AI, process improvement specialists, etc., etc., etc. So how do you get these skills on board? Train up your people, staff, and executives. Hire new skills if you are able to attract them in a competitive market. Outsource or bring contractors on board to fill a temporary demand. How do you approach the skills and people component of the AI Swifter framework? You could start with a simple capability map, taking stock of the skills you already have on board. Remember, you may have an AI expert hobbyist working in a completely non-AI related business function, totally being wasted when considering your AI goals. You have to find these people and make sure they are using their skills effectively. After all, it's a win-win. They will be much happier in their job while you have just acquired an AI expert or inspiring expert without the pain of hiring or training. Once you know what skills you have on board, now you can identify the gaps. Gaps based on where you are today against what AI initiatives will be in place in future. This can only happen once you know what AI solutions you are going to prioritize and implement. And this comes from work you've already done in the alignment and innovation pillars we've already covered. You'll need to figure out how to build or acquire these skills. In a market where the demand for AI, technical and soft skills currently outweigh supply. Yes, this can be challenging, and you will need to find new ways to attract top talent away from your competitors. The skills and people pillar is all about building a team that not only understands the tech, but also the context it lives in. What happens if you don't develop the skills and people pillar of the AI Swifter framework? You may end up building or buying a system no one is equipped to implement in the business. Implementation stalls, risks escalate, and the expected results don't materialize. Without the right people, it makes little sense to embark on an ambitious AI system build, because things will just come to a grinding halt until you can get those skills on board, in whichever way you need to get them on board. If you forgot everything I just told you about skills, remember this one thing. You may already have an AI expert in your company that you don't even know about. People pursuing AI qualifications in their private life, or building hobby AI projects and side hustles. Find them and develop an AI career for them. So who owns the skills and people pillar of the AI Swifter framework? Again, it's not only the responsibility of the HR department to find and develop AI skills. This really is a team sport. Anyone leading people play a role here, whether it's HR department, heads, or the learning and development department, or its employees recommending their friends, and possibly also their family. Let's now turn to the W in the AI Swifter framework, workflows and adoption. This pillar is all about the use of AI systems that are built and deployed. It's about embedding the AI systems in workflows and adoption by users across all stakeholder groups. In my experience, this is often the most overlooked part of AI initiatives, because even the smartest tech in the world is useless if no one uses it. Executives and decision makers often get caught up in promise of technology, thinking it'll deliver the promised results, even if the system is right for the business and implemented with precision. It makes no difference to the business if such systems are not actually used. So think about this. How could an organization end up going through the cost and effort of implementing a system that's not even used? What's going on here? This situation can easily happen when AI initiatives start with a tech-first approach. Leaders are often mesmerized by technology and its promise. You buy it and implement it, but not because there was a need for it, but because you believed that the promise sold to you by the vendor. Go back to episode 1, where I talked about an AI chatbot example. The bank had a predominantly older customer base who didn't want to use the chatbot. They preferred speaking to a real person. Also in that example, when chatbots start giving wrong answers, staff will obviously discourage their customers from using these chatbots. The key missing component here is the alignment step in our AI Swifter framework, which was ignored, really. The AI system implemented without stakeholder needs assessment risks not being used. So why does adoption matter so much? Because shelfware doesn't deliver any benefits, let alone return on investment. Adoption of AI systems, in other words, AI systems that are actually used by the target stakeholder groups, is what turns potential and promise into performance. So how do you get it right? Simple. Focus on the alignment pillar in the AI Swifter framework and make sure the AI system is addressing a genuine desire or aspiration of a specific stakeholder group. And then design it with the user in mind and not for them without any involvement from them. You've got to watch what people actually do, not just what they say they do when using a system. Are there too many steps in the user journey that gets them to abandon the AI system? Is the user interface clunky and confusing? Are the colors on the app or web page overpowering? All of these things really do matter. You must co-create workflows that fit into the reality of your users. Yes, start with a prototype, but then get feedback from as many actual users as possible. Look out for problems. Listen to their feedback and suggestions. Ask them how the AI solutions could be improved. Iterate, test, get feedback, and repeat the cycle until you get a system which users are unanimously happy with. Of course, you can't please everyone, and naturally some users will still dislike certain features of workflow. That's just part of the process. What are some ways or practices to ensure adoption? Let's just explore a few tools and techniques. These are only examples, really. Number 1, journey mapping and testing. Number 2, shadowing actual users on the ground. See how they use pilot systems. Learn what works and what doesn't. And number 3, prototyping tools in real environments with real users, not just in boardrooms or innovation labs. In some cases, even in the AI system is beneficial to the user and co-created with their input. Users may avoid using it deliberately because of a fear that the AI system is going to take away their job. Some may just resist change because they like doing things how they have always been done. What if you don't focus on the workflow and adoption pillar of the AI Swifter framework? You won't get the intended stakeholders using the system, a wasted investment of time, money, and effort. You can lose trust or the users when a system is forced on them without their input. People work around systems instead of working with it. People resist the change, and AI becomes just another failed project. So who should lead this workflow and adoption pillar? Ideally, you give this responsibility to a digital transformation lead or a change manager. However, success depends on close collaboration with operational leaders to align workflows with day-to-day realities, with HR people teams for using training, change communication, and behavioral change, frontline staff for systems that are intended to be used by customers and other stakeholders like joint venture partners or suppliers. IT or product managers to ensure the technology is implemented with usability in mind. Change management champions in every business unit can certainly go a long way to encouraging widespread adoption of the AI system. Let's now move on to the second I in AI Swifter framework. Infrastructure. This is in effect the nuts and bolts of the AI system. Your infrastructure is the foundation, and it includes a component such as computer resources. You need high-performance computers that can scale as AI technologies advance. A more practical solution could be to use cloud computing with platforms like AWS, Azure, and Google. They offer on-demand access to vast computer resources, which you can scale up or down as you require, without having to invest in buying and building the system yourself. Many highly regulated industries will often need to invest in their own servers, where they can keep the data locally and have the computer power on tap instead of sharing it with others in the cloud. You will need data storage and management solutions. AI models learn from a vast amount of data that need to be extracted, cleaned, and stored in a systematic way so that it can be retrieved easily. Data, after all, is the lifeblood of AI systems, whether it's your data or external data available in public libraries. AI also needs high-speed networks and connectivity. AI systems need to quickly upload and download data to perform their functions. Such data transfers must be possible across different types of systems. Most importantly, the network over which data travels must be secure, protecting sensitive data and systems against hackers. So the AI system will need sophisticated security and compliance infrastructure that are kept up to date. Why does this infrastructure pillar matter? Because your AI initiatives will be limited by your infrastructure or hardware. In some cases, coming to a halt if your hardware can't cope with the demands of AI solutions. Worse, if your infrastructure fails or doesn't function properly, you don't get AI transformation, you get AI chaos. And with AI's ability to automate, things can get out of hand very quickly, putting your organization, your customers, and other stakeholders at risk. So how do you avoid that? You start by assessing what you already have. What systems can integrate? What needs replacing? What's your data quality really like? Remember, all this gap analysis is based on work you've already done in the alignment and innovation pillars. These two pillars are foundational, and they ensure you are building an AI system designed to meet stakeholder needs that shifts the business to new heights. We won't go into the technicalities of AI infrastructure. There's already quite a bit of information that is already out there. Vendors will be pleased to inform you about the hardware, so you can get information from them. Maybe we can dedicate a future episode of this topic, or better, get some infrastructure provider guests to go through all the infrastructure components and the technology stack you will need to consider when building your AI solution. So what's the risk if you skip this infrastructure pillar? Well, your AI system just won't work, no matter how well they are designed. Or worse, system flaws and security breaches will expose you legally and reputationally. So who owns the infrastructure component? Fortunately, this is one area you don't want everyone involved, just IT experts. Your IT team, your data architects, and your cybersecurity teams will take the lead. If you don't have these teams, you can outsource or bring in credible freelancers. They're not back office, they're mission critical in this case. Definitely rely on vendors, but only once you're clear on what AI systems you are implementing, and most importantly, why. As an executive or owner of the business, you don't need to understand the nuts and bolts of infrastructure. However, you need to have a grasp of the basic infrastructure needed for AI and keep abreast of new developments. Make sure you have a strong IT and hardware team, whether they are in-house or outsourced. So next we move to the F in the AI Swifter framework, frameworks and models. Now we're talking about the engine under the hood, the powerhouse of AI systems. This is where the models live, the logic that drives your AI. We're talking about algorithms, techniques, and software tools to build and train AI models. It's essentially the brain of the AI system. While infrastructure was the hardware and data, here we focus on the software. Briefly, we've got the following AI frameworks. Number one, machine learning frameworks and libraries like deep learning frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, and Keras. Classical machine learning libraries like Scikit. Natural language processing libraries like Hugging Face transformers. Data processing frameworks for model preparation like Apache Spark. The core techniques used to learn from data by AI systems include supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, computer vision processing, and generative models. Again, we won't delve into the technicalities of models, methods, and frameworks here. Remember, this is a means to an end, and not the starting point of AI systems. As an executive or owner of the business, You only have to understand basic concepts and keep on top of developments. Why does this pillar matter? For obvious reasons, the frameworks and models component is crucial. Think of them as sophisticated construction kits designed specifically for building AI. It's like a Lego brick for building a toy. AI frameworks can accelerate development because of pre-built components, libraries, and optimized functions. They can simplify complexity and make AI development more accessible. They also ensure you are following standardization and best practices. AI models and methods, on the other hand, translate data into insights and actions. AI methods help computers learn patterns and relationships. They also enable generalization. What does this mean? The AI system has the ability to apply learned knowledge to novel situations. In other words, demonstrating intelligent behavior. Different AI models and methods can address different and diverse problems. So it's crucial to choose the right model or method for your specific problem. Frameworks, models, and methods allow you to explain how your AI works. If you can explain the output, you can trust the model, and your stakeholders can have faith in their outputs. So how do you choose the right model? Pick the simplest tool that solves the problem. Aim for models that are testable, auditable, and explainable. Firstly, understand the problem and tasks at hand. Consider, what are you trying to achieve with the AI? What type of data do you have? What are the inputs and outputs requirements? How accurate do you need the model to be? Etc., etc., etc. Then explore available model types like classical machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and time series models. Once you've chosen the model, consider what data sets are needed. Consider how you prepare the data and how you deal with missing data. Then go back to the infrastructure pillar and decide whether you have the computer power to run these complex models. Remember, you can buy or rent computer power, as I've already spoken about before. As an executive or business owner, you need a working knowledge of frameworks, models, and methods used for AI. And more importantly, you must understand the limitations and risks, because you have an oversight responsibility on what your team produces, whether they are in-house or outsourced. As a leader, you have to educate yourself and make sure you stay up to date on AI mechanics. Nothing too deep here, but a high-level understanding. That's all you really need. You must ensure there are governance mechanisms in place to evaluate the accuracy of the models. What's even more important is to assess the risks of bias, transparency of the models, and maintainability, meaning the output remains relevant over time and the model doesn't become corrupt as it gets more data and learns on it. While your framework, models, and method must be smart, they must also be ethical and responsible. So what if you choose the framework, method, or model poorly? You will invite unintended consequences like biases, discrimination, and losses that your stakeholders suffer. You can't have a brain that is corrupt or manipulative. So I stress again, strong governance around AI is so crucial. You've got to build challenge mechanisms and auditability into the AI solution. The governance mechanism must anticipate and quickly identify problems and weak points and rapidly put a stop to AI system deployment if the risk assessment fails. Okay, so let's explore who's involved here. Data scientists and AI experts naturally. But you also need to involve wider teams like compliance officers, legal teams, ethical working groups. It's a cross-disciplinary effort, not a solo data science show. Remember, the most important controlling mechanism is a governance framework that's going to stop disruptive AI systems from being deployed, and that keeps check on outputs regularly, making sure outputs are not corrupt and don't lead to unintended consequences. Now we come to the T in the AI Swifter framework. The T, tracking and learning pillar. AI isn't a launch event, done and dusted. It's a continuous improvement effort. Success doesn't happen at a go live. It happens over time through learning and adaptation. AI is developing rapidly, and you as the executive or owner and your team must always be on a steep learning curve. You need to know about new developments, but you also need to understand new regulations putting guardrails on AI system developments. This is critical because if you don't measure, you don't learn. And if you don't learn, you can't scale or course correct. If you don't keep up with developments, you will be outcompeted by those that follow the latest trends. If you don't keep up with guardrails, you may end up on the wrong side of the law. So how do you build tracking and learning into the process? Well, define KPIs, key performance indicators. Track usage data. Talk to stakeholders. Watch for outliers and edge cases. Keep an eye on latest developments. Some tools that can help with tracking and learning include dashboards, internal audits, surveys, and build a database to keep track of latest developments. Remember that discovery is a foundational pillar that is relevant at every pillar of the AI Swifter framework. Use what you learn to continuously improve. But what happens if you don't get this tracking and learning component right? Well, simply you risk scaling something that isn't working. Or worse, thinking something works when it doesn't really work. Your AI system becomes irrelevant over time, and you lose your competitive positioning. You could also end up on the wrong side of the law. Definitely something you don't want to get into. The who leads this pillar? Naturally, your analytics team play a crucial role, but tracking and learning must be embedded at every level in your organization. This is essential feedback loop, making you confident that your AI system is always on the right path and following cutting-edge development curve. Now we come to the penultimate pillar, E, ethics and control. AI has power, and the saying goes, power needs guardrails. I've already touched on this when explaining other pillars, but let's zoom in on the vital pillar of the AI Swifter framework, which is ethics and controls. Why do ethics matter so much in AI? Because one ethical failure can wipe out years of brand equity and get you into hot waters with regulators or face lengthy and expensive lawsuits. Trust takes time to build and seconds to destroy. So how do you embed ethics? Start with a clear ethical framework and principles. Define your company's core ethical values and translate them into AI ethical principles. These might include fairness, transparency, always doing the right thing, accountability, privacy, and security. Develop AI ethics policies based on your values, regulation, and best practice. Establish an AI ethics committee or an officer. If you're a small business, hire in an AI expert that comes in every now and again to make sure everything is on track from an ethics perspective. I've already mentioned the importance of a strong governance framework, which must be developed and documented. You need a structured approach with clear roles and responsibilities and decision-making process for AI development, deployment, and monitoring. Embed ethical considerations at every stage of the process. Conduct regular audits and reviews for ethical risks, biases, unintended consequences, and compliance with laws and policies. So what happens if you ignore this? Well, you open the door to unintended consequences that results in lawsuit, media backlash, and regulatory heat, which I've already covered. And who's responsible for ethics and controls? It's got to be embedded in every pillar of the AI Swifter framework, assigning responsibility for ethical considerations, controls, and outcome to specific stages and roles throughout the AI implementation lifecycle. Risk teams and legal and compliance will play an important role, but here is where leaders must step up. They set the tone at the top. They lead by example, and they have to have a strong governance framework that anticipates unintended consequences, surfaces them rapidly, deals with them so that risks are minimized. And finally, we come to the R in the AI Swifter framework. Results and scale. This is where the rubber meets the road. Proof of concept is nice, but proof of value, that's where real transformation begins. If you go through all the effort of building an AI system, it's got to deliver real, tangible results, not just today, but ongoing. AI solutions must be sustainable. You also want these solutions to scale so that they give you more return on investment over time. Results and scale is the end game, because AI has to scale to matter. It can't stay stuck in one pilot after another. Remember pilot purgatory we discussed in part 1. So how do you scale with confidence? Modularize your solutions. Make sure the modules are standardized and accessible to other teams. Remember, build AI like Lego blocks. Once time and effort goes into innovating and building one component, make sure it's available and can be used by other teams who are building other AI solutions. Now you can develop and deploy AI systems fast because you don't need to go back to the drawing board every time. You can just take what's working and build on it. This gives you a huge head start. The modules must be hosted on a digital platform that developers can get controlled access to. However, document everything, how it works, how it's deployed, what worked, what didn't work. Build toolkits that others in the organization can reuse. Here are some of the practical assets you should be developing. Internal written playbooks, videos that gives guidance on the assets and how to use it. A digital platform with reusable modules of code, governance frameworks for scale and oversight. What if you skip this? Well, quite simply, you'll be stuck in pilot purgatory, celebrating small wins but never changing the game. Who drives scale? Again, this is everyone's responsibility. Everyone involved has to develop things that can be reused. Then document what they have done to make life easier for someone who will use the AI-related asset. Develop instructional videos on modules. Delivery team, program managers, and executive sponsors must drive scalability in everything they do. So that's the AI Swifter framework, a grounded, structured way to navigate AI in your business, not just with hype, but with real, practical clarity. We're building an AI readiness scorecard to help you assess yourself across the 9 pillars, so you know where to start, what to strengthen, and where the real risks are. I'll include a link in the show notes to express your interest in completing this when it is ready. I'm your host, Jay Tikam. This is Impact with Digital.